Welcome to week 4 of our Rise to the Call course. This is World in Rising. I come to you from Wadawurrung Land, which is the bottom of Australia. Right down next to the beach, we have amazing surf beaches along here with beautiful cliff tops that roll alongside the beach. I would really like to pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the land who have been caring for these lands for thousands and thousands of years and who hold a really deep ancient wisdom of these lands. And it is a real honour to be able to bring this work to you from this space. So we have gone 4 weeks and we're coming to the end. And I really hope that the 4 weeks has served you, has deepened your understanding of what it means to rise to the call, what it means to be fully human at this time in the world. And so we started with week 1, which was self in rising, looking at who we are, our gifts that we bring, and how we walk on this planet, as well as looking into what calls us to be able to, what calls us to this movement. And then we moved out to nature and stepped into our relationship with nature, reconnecting with nature, deepening that relationship so that we are able to bring that into our consciousness and into our everyday decisions, and act from an ecological self, a deeper sense of self, a larger, more expansive sense of self, as well as so really seeing ourselves as nature. And this helps us to be able to understand what it is that we're standing for, what we're fighting for, why we're doing this work in the first place, as well as it becoming a platform that makes it natural for us to be doing this work and not an effort. We come from a grounded, powerful, rooted place. And then we moved on to community in rising, which was last week, and we explored, who is our community? What does community even mean? And expanding our sense of community to that of deep time, where we brought in our community to involve that of our ancestors and future generations. And then we explored, how do we actually engage with our community? So, yeah, we have this community, but how do we engage with it? How do we partake in it? How do we understand others in it and ourselves within this larger community? As well as, how do we build community? So we need a community to be able to do this work powerfully. We can't do this alone. And so how do we cultivate community? How do we access community? How do we build a team? And how do we know what type of team we want to be a part of? Or how do we create a team that is got the diversity that we see in nature, that we see celebrated in complex and successful ecosystems? It's creating an ecosystem but within a community. And now we're moving on to world in rising. So it's the understanding that we all are part of the same world, that we only have one world and one home. And it's like, so what are we going to bring to that? This is the action week. It's taking those 3 weeks and then rising from there, going, okay, with all that grounding, with all that knowledge, with all that understanding, and with all of those tools, how am I going to become active? How am I going to use these deep roots so that I can grow taller, so I can offer more to the earth, so I can offer more to humankind and to myself and to others around me? And so this week really concentrates on, where are we going and how do we get there? So the tools, the ability to be able to do that. And so we start this week with visioning the world that we want to see. And we've got some exercises in the PDF that allow you to drop in and really imagine what world that we want to create. So our trajectory at the moment is one, as a society and as humankind, that does not honor all life, that is going in a way that is going to create destruction and is creating destruction for ourselves and other living beings. So how do we rewrite that narrative and vision a new type of world, a new type of society, one that we want to be a part of, one that we would be proud of being a part of, one that we would celebrate every day waking up to. And so that is the world that we're visioning. And we do that because we need to create a collective narrative to know where we're going. But also we need to be able to have a vision and a kind of direction so that we know where we can take the steps, what changes need to happen, identify what is not working, and what we want to work, so that we can move from this to that, so that we have this beautiful idea that we can also communicate to people. We can bring them along. You know, we can do that with our communities. We can bring them along to say, well, this is where we're going, but this is where we want to be. Don't you want to be a part of that? Isn't this exciting? Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that what you want to be a part of? And so that is the purpose of the visioning exercise. Then we also move on to, so we go from the large, like where as a world do we want the world to look like? And then we move on to what is it? What issue is calling us individually right now to create the world that we want to see? What is it that right now is calling for our attention? So we drop into that, we listen to our bodies. That's why we did the self, we did the nature, we did the community, because it helps us to know what it is that we need to be doing, the work that we need to be doing. So we look at what is it that we need to be doing? You know, what issue is igniting our soul? What is it that we want to bring to the world? And then starting to go, okay, well, what would I give my time to? What would I give 5 to 10 hours minimum a week to for free, unpaid work? What has that passion for me that I would happily do it without even questioning? And so that is the things that we want to drop into, because they are the things that ignite us. That's our passion. That is our calling. And then we move straight into, well, how do we achieve some of these things? How do we address and attack different issues that are happening in our society, and recreate the world that we want to see? So then we go into campaigning. You know, me and Kate have a lot of experience in this area, and it is a powerful way of, it's a powerful tool to be able to be part of the movement. So we share with you how you can do that. We've broken it down so that you can explore if your issue that you're being called to address could utilize some campaigning or would benefit from some campaigning. Then the campaign is broken down into sections. So, you know, we start with vision again. You know, what is the vision that we want to create, with what is the outcome at the end, the big picture of the campaign? What is it trying to achieve? You know, big picture goal. And then we move down to, you know, goals. What are some things that will, like landmarks, that will allow us to know that we're getting towards that vision, that will show us that we are creating the world that we want to see. And then we move on to strategy. Okay, goals, great. We want to achieve this, this, and this at this, and this date. So how are we going to go about that? How do we actually do that? So they're the strategies, and they can vary. There is so many different ways that we can engage in the movement, and we can engage with these issues, and we can communicate and partake, and from everything from creativity meets sustainability. So creative means of engaging people in the movement, getting the message across to, you know, lobbying governments, that kind of thing. You know, there is so many different ways of strategies of campaigning, and then it moves on to tactics. So with those strategies, what do I need to allow those strategies to happen? And so that's broken down in the document, and I really suggest that you look at what it is that you are being called to do, and then create a little mock campaign for yourself, or a real campaign, but with that team, or finding a team who's doing it, and bring that knowledge into that space, going, okay, well, this could be a great avenue for us to make an impact, for us to be part of the movement. We then move on to event management. There's a document that just goes through some of the things that you might want to consider. So if you are running an event and it's the first time you have ever done it, there's a lot of things to consider, but once you get into the role of it all, it's actually quite easy. But when you haven't done it before, there's some things that you might have not thought about, and so we have given you a breakdown as well of some considerations that you can look into to help make it easier, so that you're not reinventing the wheel, so that you can go out and go, this is my campaign, I want to do this, or under my campaign I want to run an event, or maybe my calling is not a campaign but an event will feed whatever direction I'm going in, and it's like, okay, well, how do I run that? What do I have to do? Who do I have to involve? What are some step-by-step processes that I need to consider? And this hopefully will help guide you in it. It's not a foolproof document, but it is a great start for you to be able to start that thinking process and really explore that further. And then we really just encourage you to start doing something. We cannot stress this anymore. It is imperative that every individual on this world is stepping into their full selves, becoming active. We are not at a time where we can wait until we're the most educated people, the most competent people, the most connected and confident people. Those things, we often never get to that point where we really feel that. So we just begin. We learn on the road. We come in with good intentions. We bring in other people who have those skills that can support us. You know, I love doing stuff around the oceans and marine life, but I'm not a marine biologist. But I bring in other people. I go, okay, I want to do this. This is my vision. This is what I want to offer. But okay, who do I need? And that also comes back to that team thing. And I go, okay, actually, I need a marine biologist for this, because I don't have the knowledge in that deep way about the ins and outs of the ocean, but I have the passion, I have the vision, I have the idea, and I'm bringing together the people that will help me make that idea reality, make that idea birth into the world. And so that is the purpose of the just start and find the people who will support you in that. We also have included in there a part about redefining failure. And we have incorporated that because once you start, once you step up, once you're doing the work, you are going to encounter things that you view as failures. And it is really important that we come in there with a perspective that helps nourish us when we do encounter these moments, because they'll come. And it is actually perfect. It is fine. It is exactly what needs to happen. I have encountered so many failures. Kate has encountered so many failures. Some of the most powerful people in history have been seen as failures originally. But it is how we understand and react and respond to failures. I see them as lessons, and that is what we've shared in the PDF around, like, how do we redefine it so that we don't see it as a negative, but we see it as an opportunity to grow, to be redirected, to expand. And I have found that I've become so grateful for the times I have failed and fallen down, because I've come back stronger, more grounded in what I want to achieve, and also learnt the lessons that I needed to learn. I needed to learn lessons, I needed to grow, I needed to develop, and I will still fail at times, and that is perfect. That is totally fine. So we want you to have that resilience going into that. We share things about growth mindsets and set mindset, the difference of that, and the power of yet. So I'm not good at writing documents. yet. I am not good at public speaking yet. So that also redefines things. And then looking at our ripples. We've spoken about this multiple times, but we are that drop in the ocean, and it's a really large open ocean, a vast ocean, and we understand that, but you are one drop that then drops in and helps fill this ocean, but also it ripples out. So our impacts, we often see this drop action, and we can see and feel sometimes those impacts of our work, but there are so many ripples that then expand out from what we're offering in the world, and those things we will never really know the impact of. And sometimes we might get little insights into unexpected impacts that our work has had. But I just really wanted to share that with you, because it is important to be aware that we might never know, and that does not mean that our work is not being powerful, that we're not having an impact. We come in with good intentions, we come in with great ideas, we're doing actions in the world, we're living a full life. That is all that we can offer. And then we also go, okay, we've explored the world we want to see, we've explored what we're being called to do, how we're doing it, stepped into campaigning, event management, some of the tools that allow you to achieve that vision. And now it's like, okay, well, when society is there's so much happening in there, how do we anchor so that we come back every day and we know why we're doing this work? We are profoundly grounded and inspired by this anchor. And it's like, we need to develop whatever it is that helps you remember why, your why you're doing this work, what work it is you're being called to do. Because there will be constant things pulling you out of it. And it's like, you need to be able to come back to that truth and that anchor, so that when things get tough, because they will at times, it's not always, bubble and shiny things. Sometimes things are difficult. And so it's like, okay, how do I know and come back to my knowing and my truth? And we drop in. And so that is our offerings for this week. I hope you have enjoyed it. We, both me and Kate, would like to deeply express our thanks to all of you for participating in this course and for being part of the Rise to the Call. It is such an honor to have journeyed with you guys, to have been able to hear your stories and connect into the amazing people that are all around the world doing this work. This is part of the Great Turning. We are all part of it, and we really want to acknowledge your bravery and your courage for partaking in this course, but also for stepping up, for being part of this rising that's happening. And we want to honor you deeply for that. And thank you. And we hope you have found this course nourishing, powerful and helpful for where you're moving to and where you are. And so from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. And we will see you hopefully in the beautiful world doing beautiful work, as I'm sure you will. You are all such amazing individuals that have so much to offer, and I see that and I see you. So thank you.